Why are you giggling?
My heart will go on playing against Inara. Just
I wanted her to just, you know, fire back with that seismic crash. We don't see that counterplay enough. Inara has gone abused too long by knockoffs, knockbacks, and knock-ups, and I think it's time we take a stand. Guys, Pretty Hair and Gormizer here to bring you the back half of console here for Europe. This will be the PS4 half of things. We've got Flashpoint versus Cyclone up here as our first match of the day. We expect Flashpoint to be the overdog, the favorite here in this matchups, but I mean, what can we really say as a sure thing after what we've already seen today?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, even just looking at last week, it's gotten a lot closer for these top dogs. Flashpoint, I think, is the one that has so far stayed relatively untouched, but this is always the day for things to potentially go wrong for them. A lot of these teams being able to get to that like 3-3 mark line, and then at the tail end of the game, it is just based on how well you can use your ults. I mean, even then, we saw an Ancient Rage come through just in the last game and not really matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, we saw that Barrack and Xin diving the Saris and kind of turning around. I can't remember who Khan and Makoa were pressuring exactly, but the fact that that person didn't die for as long as they did, and they sort of weathered that storm was, you know, pretty impressive. Maybe it was the Inara that managed to weather said storm. Torvald banned away. Khan, Drogoz, and Koga. The capital K's here. Makoa is the first pick, and Willow will be second. First time we're seeing Stone Keep all day today as well.
And let me tell you, there's nothing I think that is more deadly of a combo than Flashpoint, Makoa, and Stone Keep all together. It has definitely been something to work with in the past. But I mean, Willow and Nara is such a solid counter to that. Just in terms of what you've picked up, the amount of control you should theoretically get because of the fact that Inara is just so tanky inherently. In my opinion, like, I think Inara is probably the best frontline for doing frontline things, right? Everyone else, Khan, Makoa, they're really good at aggressing on the side, but Inara is really just focused on the one.
So talk to me about the Fury of Saris. 2-3 pick here.
So, it's one of two things. And it's either going to be Damage Furia, or the one that I actually think will happen is going to be like an Agony-esque Saris. Like, they're going to be going for damage and stuns and control. I think I saw some of the EU guys, it might have been, it was either EU or NA, talking about a damage Saris over the weekend on Twitter. So I'm kind of wondering if they're actually going to pull one out, or if that's like a, hey, this is a ranked meme.
I mean, yeah, Soul Collector Saris was something that had to be banned away from Wonderful once he started to run it.
Yeah.
I think Damage Furia is kind of just Furia at this point for me.
It's just normal Furia, Solar Blessing Furia.
That's how she just runs it, baby. I mean, she can really, really get it done. And an interesting draft here from Flashpoint, maybe looking to flex their muscles a little bit on Cyclone.
We've seen a lot of people like kind of going for Genos, like they've been grabbing Binary Star Genos on console to try and again emulate the same thing where it's just we're gonna hit really hard. At that point, I think you should just run Furia because she's gonna do that, but better. But I mean, Saris, she brings a lot of utility. I'm actually excited to see what she can do.
Well, a weird draft on paper here, but it is Flashpoint. It's a team we know and love, and you know, hopefully one that will dominate here today. We'll have to see if they can get it done with this comp. What do you guys think? We've talked a little bit about either draft, either way. On paper, excluding the fact that it's Flashpoint, would you still bet on this lineup?
Oh, absolutely not.
Knowing it's console, though, maybe. Like, I mean, Soul Collector Saris, I think you're right. I think on paper, when you exclude who's playing it and just look at it objectively, it's not one that I'm eager to put my money on.
And for me, the other big issue is it's you immediately grab two supports against Willow. Like, that was your response. You pick Makoa, they grab Willow and Nara, and you go, all right, hold up. Let me tell you. Double support. This is the play. Maybe the healing's going to go off, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit more difficulty overall for Flashpoint, but it is Flashpoint.
It is indeed Flashpoint. That's why we can't look at this on paper. We have to look at it in practice. We're seeing a Guillotine morale boost. Xin Flashpoint just taking the vote ever so slightly, though, Gormizer. It is not a landslide. Only AB finds the first blood. No, he is the second blood.
Unfortunately, Legacy, you don't have an Ancient Rage. He's kind of locked down in the middle right there. I expect him to fall relatively soon. And this is where I feel like this draft is going to be awkward for the first round, maybe first 2 rounds. So you just have to, as Flashpoint, kind of stop Cyclone from getting a 4-0. You need to be able to hold on for that. You need to start showing up either on the defense or during the push of the next one, or the capture of the next round, because right now, it's just all over the place.
Well, OpB's locked down here behind a wall. Not sure if he wants to go in or out, and actually cripple treacherous ground through the wall. This Ruckus completely locked down in every sense of the word. CycloneGG will take the first objective of the game. Centurio will fall. The whirlwind from Grover is popped to try and keep him alive, but it will fail in its mission, and though the first payload goes their way, Flashpoint will immediately win the fight after the fact. Was it actually Soul Collector Saris? I don't remember. Can we take a quick peek at the talents here? It was indeed. Cross for logic on the Saris as well, man. The hit scan man himself.
Playing probably, I would argue, one of the hardest to hit projectiles in the game, because Saris's attacks, just look at that movement. Like, it's not very fast. You kind of have to, you can lead a little bit, and I feel like it's a little forgiving because it's a little wider than most of your typical shots, but it's still...
Depends on the range.
Long range, you're not going to be sniping people with that.
It's certainly tough. A bit of an awkward project. They used to be super slow. I mean, they used to be nigh useless unless you were melee range. Only scooping one there, a little bit too close to the curb, so to speak. And now Prosper Logic, his team, while he's in Shadow Travel, is able to just kind of win the fight around him.
And just aggression right now. And again, this is where they kind of need to pick it up. They need to get their draft rolling a little bit, because I feel like credits are not only going to help them and enable what they're trying to accomplish, but it'll give them the confidence that what they're doing will at least work. It's a very difficult draft, I think, to pull off against a standard draft, especially with Willow, Fernando having the brand on the other side, the dead zone from the Willow. A lot of this is anti-heal oriented. Cyclone admittedly should have an advantage in their draft.
Yeah. And maybe they're able to execute it on here, despite the reputation that precedes this Flashpoint roster. Tito picks up 2, and the payload will resume its movement once again. Storm Avatar will fall down, locked in by another great Inara wall here. And you have to say the control exhibited from Inara so far on Stone Keep has definitely been above par for me.
Good shots and not be, but it's not going to be able to find the kill. And I feel like those moments right now are going to be able to make or break Cyclone, right? If you kill off Ruckus right there, you get a lot more pressure, but OpB just falls back, heals up, and now he's ready to keep going. He has a Hexafire if he really needs it, but they only have 10 seconds left to defend. They don't really need to worry about ults.
Last 5 seconds here. Payload at a critical spot. That Solar Blessing looks like it missed as well, Goremizer. This could be the opportunity here to push onto OpB, but he gets a lot of healing through here, but not enough. Tidu is able to put the foot down and grab that kill. Another heal goes off there onto the high ground, but is unable to land there. Centurio, Nox, Maeve, all picking up kills here. The Inflame will come out just to try and buy time, but what's it really going to accomplish here? Just a couple of seconds for all of that utility now burned just onto one Makoa. Legacy will fall on the objective, and it just seems like the fiesta has begun. I don't know if Flashpoint are going to be able to bring that one back. They do not, and Cyclone will go up 2-0.
And that was a lot of investment for Flashpoint to not really get anything at the end, right? The minute Ancient Rages popped, you hear the Inflame get popped. And I love the way Cyclone immediately focus on it, because they don't care about the Makoa. Again, we've mentioned it in the past. We actually just got to see it in the last game. You don't have to focus him down. Like, he has a ton of health. He's really irritating. But if you can just lock him just far enough away from people that he can't hit you, he's not really that big of a threat, so they just ignore Legacy. They kill off Storm Avatar. Then by the time they're done with that, they turn around. Legacy's vulnerable again. And it felt like every single person on Flashpoint, except for really OpB, who had already been killed, were just staggered. They didn't know what to do.
Well, look at this. The supports, Grover and Saris, 2 and 3 on the damage charts here. It's Tito at 6 and 1 on the Willow that is maintaining control. Pyre Strike is just going to rip through here, not find any stuns though. Seismic Crash, the clumping here, easily punished, you have to say. And again, Flashpoint spill in early first blood.
And it doesn't look like it's going to turn around for them, honestly. A lot of pressure coming down. Legacy going to get taken out. Zen locked in the most awkward area that you could be, where you don't really have enough cooldowns to keep yourself alive. And that's about the only window people have to truly kill you. Not going to be able to get the healing. And so Flashpoint, I mean, again, even though it looked pretty solid on the defense, or at least at first it looked solid on the defense, they're just falling apart.
Seething goes out here. OpB does not want to contest through that. The Guillotine will find the kill. Of course, it lands. That's all you need to do. Problem solved there. Grover trying to find his way out of trouble, but Dredge anchored back in. Flashpoint have the comeback mechanic. Op B is going to throw down the Hexifier, but cancel it out and retreat before he is able to be brought down.
Not finding a whole lot off of that. Maybe a little bit of damage, at least a little bit of zoning overall. But Flashpoint, like you said, with the comeback mechanic, still have to be able to apply more pressure on the Cyclone than what I'm seeing out of him. Nox Mave, if he goes down there, that would be big, but that Vine going to be able to get him out just in time.
Dead zone used here to try and pressure out. Op B will succeed somewhat here, pushing him back up onto the balcony. A lot of pressure coming from a lot of different angles. The Whirlwind needs to be the stabilizing here. We need to see some kills happening soon, or Cyclone is going to run out of gas.
A couple of good shots. Don Canolo going down. I think that might be part 1. As long as you can get rid of Inara, that's going to make part 2, and that's pretty much all you really need to get rid of Cyclone. But 99% is going to be a big number you have to deal with and get through before you can actually get there to that 100.
Grover working his way back up towards his ultimate. There's the Immortal that comes out as well. Legacy pops into the Ancient Rage to try and keep things going in Flashpoint's favor, and so far, so good. He succeeds. A 2-for-1 trade on the objective, a 3-for-1 trade on the objective will bring Flashpoint back into this game. They get their first points on the board.
And honestly, a lot of that is playing distraction factor. When you have Ruckus just being able to get that much damage off pretty much for free because everyone's trying to kill off this Makoa, you're set. Legacy pops his ult at the perfect time, ignores the seismic crash, keeps himself going, gets a lot of good damage onto the 2 front lines from Cyclone. And it didn't really matter what Willow or Vivian were trying to accomplish at that point because he had them locked down. They were stuck, essentially, in the point with him.
1:58 on the clock now. Filleted again, coming out with the guillotine. Not quite enough to pick up the kill outright, but he's able to finish the job with just a few more slashes from the Inferno Blade. And he gets a big old heal as well to boot. Go right on back to work. And where is he sitting in terms of itemization here? Because Zin's, you know, really a little bit item dependent, I would say, especially when you're looking at this guillotine. The faster it's going to be able to charge, the better. The more effective he's able to be, the more he's able to tilt the Sonara because she's just dead all the time. Only at the Morale Boost 1 at the moment, but has found a way to penetrate the back line here. Unstoppable. 7th streak here picked up by Filleted and getting plenty of healing here. This is Flashpoint starting to flow together.
And this is where 2 supports, especially if you can make them work, will shine. You're making Willow have to determine, where am I going to put my dead zone? Is it going to go on the front lines? Is it going on the side? Am I using it for damage? Am I using it for anti-heal? That kind of decision-making is going to make or break Cyclone overall, and if they can get a couple more kills here, this should be a pickup for Flashpoint being able to at least tie it up.
I mean, not wanting a Hexifier here. I think, you know, maybe they think they've got this one wrapped up, but Filleted does not hesitate with another guillotine. As soon as Itik comes back onto the objective, he is slain again, and that is really good use of guillotine there. Not hesitating, wanting to keep his foot on the gas. 12-5, a great KD for this Zin. Sitting at about middle of the pack on damage is sort of what you expect. Without Yomi, your ability to poke falls significantly.
And admittedly, he is what you had said. He is an ult machine. He is, how often can I kill off the Inara? How often can I kill off Fernando? Like, his goal isn't really, can I top the charts of damage? Can I get a lot of kills? It's mainly just picking up those 2. The fact that he's getting a lot of damage, or a good, decent damage, plus a good amount of kills on top of all of that, is really just icing on the cake. I think Filleted right now is playing this Zen, not necessarily in a different way than we've seen in the past, but a much more utility-based way that's functioning perfectly for the team.
And the veteran here for Prosper Logic. We used to see this tactic back in the day. Op B tries to go for the old dive in and Hexifier play, but it's just countered out with post haste here. He will be the first to fall again in this round. You got to be careful with Ruckus. I mean, sometimes you can overestimate what you can accomplish and how quickly your opponents can burn you. Same can be said for an Ancient Rage here. But Legacy, he gets plenty of mileage out of that in terms of HP left over, but not a lot of mileage in terms of actual damage done.
Does get a little bit of zoning, though. Forces Cyclone to kind of play it more cautiously. And now without comeback mechanic, Flashpoint have to play a lot better against Cyclone here, right? If you lose too many members at the beginning like they have the first 2 rounds, this game falls off immediately at the beginning of this round. This time, as long as they can keep themselves in it, at least for a little bit, that 50% is a good number to sit around.
And Flame will come through again. The kills are happening, though, for CycloneGG. 3-for-0 on the objective. Legacy is here in the keep, fighting out with Vivian. Storm Avatar is able to finish the kill from behind, but at the end of the day, it's a 4-for-1. It's the support Wings of Wrathing onto the objective. Storm Avatar leaving it all out on the gridiron here, but it is not going to accomplish too much. He does stagger himself out. 57% for Flashpoint, but Cyclone in the lead currently north of 81.
I was going to say that's the only kind of play you can make when you know you have another healer on your team who can at least fill your shoes for a second. But now the stun going to be coming through. Seismic Crash going to be able to take out 2 essentially right there, with Legacy and OpB getting just eliminated. And then Filleted falling shortly after. All of Flashpoint essentially just get eliminated.
I mean, this is pretty wild here today. This is Flashpoint at the moment struggling here against CycloneGG. And I'd love to know whose map pick this was, because that has started to lead into a little bit of that conversation of, you know, why might this be happening? This helps set our expectations for, I think, the rest of the set. If you're able to steal away a map pick, so to speak, when it's not even your pick, that's a big boon for you. But this is not Cyclone's pick. This is Flashpoint wanting to play on Stone Keep and really being put through the paces.
And normally I'd say this should look not necessarily easy for them, but it's definitely the kind of draft they want. Maybe except for the Soul Collector Saris, although they definitely locked that in with confidence,
early,
I would say, overall. So it's something they wanted, something they expected, but I guess it's just been turned around on its head. Admittedly, when you're looking at picking up the things they've picked up, you have to look at what did we give up, and to me, that's the Inara, the Willow, the Fernando. Vivian factors into it a little bit, but I don't even know if she's as important as those three.
You challenge Makoa. Legacy, they do. Look at that. That's a Saris ult for time. My goodness, the Convergence will find 3. OpB locks down 2 of them and is currently chasing out the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Finds the rocket launchers for the full 3 kill there, but that play, of course, sponsored by Saris.
Being able to find that, and 54% back on her ult too. Like, that's the glory of Saris ult, is if you can get a great play on it afterwards, either you're doing a lot of damage or a couple kills come through, the eliminations come your way, your ult's going to charge back, not necessarily instantly, but it's going to be real fast. And now Flashpoint are looking at this particular spot of potentially being able to throw 2 convergences around the same area in the same round.
Used to be instantly. That actually got nerfed. That was a thing. Once you got Morale Boost 3, if you were hitting 2 3-man convergences, you were getting, you know, 70, 80, sometimes fully charged back on that ultimate.
Imagine stun locking people with a chain of convergences.
Yeah, that would that'd be a fun experience, I think, for everyone involved. But there's the big, and here it is again. I mean, another 3-man. Look at the ultimate charge here, 15% just off of the follow-up after the fact. And I want to look at the items here. What level of morale boost, if any, does Prosper have? He's only at morale boost 1 here, so if he hits that stride later on in this game, and albeit he has prioritized other things, I think rightfully so, it's a bit of a solo queue style ability here to go for straight into the morale boost, especially with the way that he's playing, right? He's Soul Collector. He's trying to walk down and actually get kills.
And he's doing well. I mean, a 9 streak right now. And the last time we checked, pretty much contending, not necessarily for the top, but really far up there in terms of damage. So being able to apply that, not something I think every team could make work, still sitting at number 3.
Top damage on his team.
But definitely something that teams like Flashpoint so far I think can be confident in running. I mean, like you said, we've seen it banned out in the past against other players. Maybe this is just going to start expanding through the league.
17-5 for Tito, though. I mean, he has been the dominant force here for CycloneGG. Vivian not far behind as well. Don Canolo, 8, 8, and 20. So a lot of assists here. A lot of effectiveness all around the field for both of the backliners for CycloneGG. At the moment, the front line for Flashpoint here struggling a little bit. Both of them negative here. They've got some rough matchups to fight into, though. Hexafire gets to its spot, but the damage isn't quite there. It's enough to flush the rest of Cyclone down into an awkward spot on the keep. But look at that, Grover comes flying off the top rope just to try and keep this team fight alive. The Whirlwind, though, it buys time. The full reset may be, but it doesn't end up being quite enough here for all of those kills to stay alive. OpB will go down. Nox Mave eventually will fall in the backline. Convergence again. How many does it find? I know I saw Willow in there. Maybe 2 or 3 more. Prosper Logic. Judging by the fact that he's got the triple kill, judging by the fact that he's back to 35% on his ult, you have to say he caught another 3 in the net.
And just being able to yank Willow out of the air in a scenario where it looked like if she had lived through that, would have been able to cause a little bit more trouble, been causing a lot of trouble for the team.
I wanted to point out, see that UI indicator for Soul Collector Saris?
Yeah, down on the bottom.
That's what I want for Defiant Fist Andrew. I want to know how many stacks I've got on my next punch there. That's what I want. That's a really, really nice feature. And, you know, it maybe look like a small thing, but I think that's the type of thing that makes that talent more usable. And then more people start to pick that up and really realize what it's doing for you and where you're sitting with it. And stuff like that, I think is, you know, that's what's going to make new talents explored. That's what's going to make new things tested and maybe end up being viable, like Soul Collective.
So far, it definitely feels like it's starting its rounds in the league, and this is one of those things on console. I know one team will do it and be successful with it, and then another successful team will try it, and once you have like 3 or 4 of these top dogs running it and making it look good, then it starts to filter a little bit lower, and then all of a sudden, you know, teams like Flashpoint just change their strategy to beat that because they know they can, because they've seen it in the past and they've been able to handle it.
Could be. Could be. Drogos is allowed through. First picked on Jaguar Falls. Flashpoint do end up winning their map pick. This is going to be Cyclone's home territory, though, and they do get Drogos. In my opinion, the strongest champion map combination pretty much in the game.
And notable that Flashpoint, I mean, it was their map pick. They win it, but it was a 4-3, and it wasn't looking good for them at the time. So being able to come through, you say Drogos and Nara, Makoa, I think that's a really solid draft for this map. Not only do you get Drogos on arguably one of his best maps, but Inara being able to sit on the point with pressure being applied from behind with Drogos and in front with Makoa. She's in this perfect little safe zone.
A lot of the things kind of being run back here by Flashpoint. They grab the Ruckus and the Fury again, but they are going to switch the Fernando up. Scooping a Vivian, probably for Prosper Logic. No more Soul Collector Saris. Maybe later on in the set, you never really know. Cassie, Makoa, and Nara, Drogos, Grover. If Grover's executed well, which he was in Game 1, I mean, it's hard to bet against this composition for Cyclone.
I mean, Cyclone have pretty much the exact kind of draft you would want for this map. Flashpoint have a solid draft, but again, I feel like this one is very much fitting. Actually, Ruckus and Vivian are very solid on this map as well if they played properly.
Yeah.
Both of them essentially going to be played the same way. They're going to be mini turrets that are wandering around the map.
I think everything's okay for Flashpoint on this map. I think Fury is obviously very, very strong. I think Fernando's pretty good here as well, but it's going to have to come down to execution again. It had to come down to execution in game number 1. They were able to just barely find it. Who do you guys think at home? Go ahead and cast your votes for who you think is going to take this one. This is a best of 3, so either Cyclone find a way to respond now, or they're going to take a seat for the day.
They have not necessarily a lot on the line outside of the fact that Flashpoint is known as #1. If they end up losing a set, even a game, honestly, that shows some weaknesses somewhere where maybe you can start poking holes if you're a team that is contending with them. Maybe if Cyclone aren't able to figure it out, whoever watches the VOD next week starts figuring it out. So it's a lot actually on the line for them if they lose even just a little bit, because you can start picking apart where their strategies are, or maybe their communication falls apart, and try to apply pressure on that in the future.
Centurio has his treacherous ground yet again. Pretty standard selections across the board. Otherwise, Sap Around, Solar Blessing, Scorch Rockets, Guillotine, Leviathan, Impulse, Efflorescence, Combustible. On the other side of things, you're seeing a couple of Wreckers, couple of Cots. 3 Cots here for the gang on Flashpoint as well. And Filleted, I liked the Guillotines in. I mean, he was able to get that charged up enough for me to not be able to argue with it, to be honest. I mean, he was like 15 and 7 or something like that, 15 and 9, somewhere in there, almost double, or a 2 KD rather. So it's tough here, and the vote is going to go Cyclone's way.
This is one of the first times in a long time I've seen a Vivian with Sap Arounds running, not Wrecker. It feels like that's kind of been the way things have shifted for her, potentially just to blow up all shields whenever they are. But there's not as many that she needs to blow up on the other side, so Sap Arounds here, it's going to help deal with Makoa. It's going to potentially just help shut down any, no healing, no nothing, anything that's going to be big. So you just want Prosper Logic to want to cauterize as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sitting on the side and just staying alive. Ruckus 2.0.
Makoa's close. If it's just a Barrack, if it's like Barrack and Nara, I don't like Sap Arounds. If it's Makoa, it's close. It's close for me. I think double shield front lines like the Con Fernando, Con Makoa, Fernando Makoa, blah, 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 etc., etc. That's when Sap Arounds, I feel like, is most effective. I don't know how I feel about it against, like, especially the way that Makoa's going to be playing in this composition where he's probably just going to be walking a lot of people down and beating them up. He's probably not going to be sitting too much in view with the shell shield.
I'm wondering if actually Flashpoint end up picking that up, not necessarily because they want it, but because it would be so much stronger against their draft.
Maybe.
And because Cyclone just ran it in the last map, it's one of those areas where you need to make sure that someone's not going to be comfortable with it.
That's a good point.
Especially since Fernando Ruckus, I mean, if you want Ruckus to be a factor in the game, you need his emitter shield to actually have an impact.
I mean, yeah. I didn't really think about it that way, but I think you're totally right there. I mean, it's double shielding for Flashpoint. Ruckus's shield is instrumental to his effectiveness. I mean, it's the difference of, you know, 3,000 effective HP, and the more damage you're doing to it, you're essentially just straight up stripping effective HP away from him. When you don't have Wreckers and stuff online, I mean, Ruckus is running around with like 7k HP, if not almost 8k HP. We've seen Dampener 5 come out from a couple of different players. Ruckus can be very, very oppressive, just the sheer amount of HP he gets when he dives you.
Being able to apply that has always been a saving grace. Unfortunately, it just feels like they aren't quite getting there with Flashpoint. It feels like a lot of these dives are resulting in Ruckus standing there by himself, all alone, no one to really back him up, or the heal's not ready to go through. And a lot of the combo we've been seeing with him, part of the reason his success has risen in like the PPL is because when you have that Ruckus Furia combo, Hexafire comes out, and then all of a sudden there's a Solar Blessing beam right on top of him. That Pyre Strike comes through to make sure he stays healed up through all of it.
113 on the clock now. 4 ultimates for Cyclone here, a couple for Flashpoint as well. The Sentinels have been deployed. That's why you're seeing Vivian's ult charge down. Prosper playing the only 2 champions in the game that charge their ult off their ult. And now we're seeing the Scout come out as well. Prosper hooked from the high ground, his Sentinels destroyed, and his life ended in a ragdolled heap at the bottom of the stairs.
I mean, 3 health bars looking relatively low. Shielding going to come through. Healing going to come through a little bit, but a beautiful hook to be able to get and misplace this Zen. All you need is a follow-up shot. Noxmave is going to be able to knock that one out of the park now. Rounding the last corner, looking for the last push. Flashpoint might be finding themselves down 2-0 again.
Enflame, Hexafire, as well as just Vivian herself. Legacy gets to the back line, finds the triple kill, the quadra kill with the juiced up Hexafire, giving him the business in the final 20 seconds of the round. The sub turned MVP, turned main roster, showing us just why that is the case.
And just the difference of being able to throw out the Hexafire. I feel like Op B last game on the Ruckus didn't throw it out as often as he could have, and it could have charged up a few more times. Legacy, that one gets popped, that one finds a lot of utility, and those are the kinds of Hexafires you need to find. Even if you're only going to get 1 kill, 2 kills, it depends on how impactful. Of course, if you can just wipe the entire team with it, then you're going to feel pretty confident.
Well, as we head into round number 2 here, a pretty solid defense. After the fact, I mean, that was a very momentous play, and I think it's the surprise factor as well. And it is inflamed, so all of the gun portions of Ruckus. I don't think the rocket launchers. Yeah, all 6 of them. I don't think the rocket launchers are actually amped up as in-hand damage. I don't think the rocket launchers like apply Wrecker and Cauterize, but all of the additional bullets from Hexafire just act as in-hands for Ruckus. They will apply Cauterize, they will apply Wrecker, they will receive damage amp from Luminary, from, you know, the Inflame as well. So when you take the insane DPS that Hexafire already has and juice it up by 30% more, throw a little bit of that surprise factor in there, bada bing, bada boom, you got a recipe for a quadra kill.
If you told me that the Rockets would apply on that as well, then that would just be scary, because they already do a lot of damage, as you can see, being able to control people right here, and gonna get forced out. Legacy goes down, but he takes Centurio with him, and I think that's a good pickup. Cyclone, I mean, I was just saying this about Flashpoint, but they're falling apart. Everything's getting ripped away.
Indeedy dandy. Falade finds 2 there. 69% for Flashpoint on the objective. And you can see Storm Avatar all quiet on his front as the last couple of ticks will come through here. Flashpoint uncontested. Not a fight in the night here for Cyclone in the second game. This is their map pick as well. It's worth noting as we move through, especially in these best of 3s. Stealing maps away from your opponent can literally just mean the end of the set. Flashpoint win theirs, and they look to steal theirs away, and that'll do it for them. Falade's starting to charge that ultimate fairly quickly as well. And the counter push comes out here. The Immortal, the Inflame to start it all, but will the kills come through for Flashpoint?
be getting aggressive as much as they can. Legacy going to be able to get a kill, and Centurio not able to block off the damage from behind. It goes down before the wall can truly come up. And because of that, now you're just starting to see the pressure applied. Cyclone falling back, but really for nothing. They're all dying in the process.
My goodness, what a turnaround from Flashpoint. They're starting to figure out their composition, and this is almost what we saw from our earlier sets today, but a little bit faster, right? You know, you've got Flashpoint, you've got Vex that are these experienced squads that it's taking them a little bit of time to learn on their feet in these sets, but they are learning. They are making these adjustments. They are starting to play better around each other. And you're seeing the difference here for Flashpoint. Filet tries to get that one off in the back line, but the spite will be no good. The Furia heal will be enough to bail out the front line, as it looks like Flashpoint just ready to back off. And you kind of have to when you lose somebody like that.
Yeah, Filet, if he can get rid of the Inara, get rid of the Makoa, whichever one he truly targets, it's just going to be able to set up the team so much more. I mean, it makes it a 4v5. It makes it much easier for them. But as of right now, Makoa, Ancient Rage available, so even if you push into this, you know you're going to have to deal with that health bar. That's when things start to get a little bit more complicated. That's when it gets a little bit more of an issue to try and push down Cyclone and feel as confident doing it.
They need to find a way to get pressure on this Drogos for sure. I mean, that's been the biggest thing that I've seen
30 seconds remaining.
from Xin specifically. When you're able to kind of, you know, get that guillotine off for free, and you can't just be, you know, hit with a couple of rockets mid-ultimate and taken out of that. Slicing through the front line makes it a lot easier to get to Drogos, and then Drogos feels a lot less safe where he's sitting at. And this is the beginning of maybe the end here. Itik is slain out by the guillotine. Now you've got Xin diving his way into the back line here, and this Drogos isn't allowed to sit on the high ground for free and just fire spit.
Prosper Logic going to be able to help out and save his teammate right there, Filleted. Almost cut out by Don Canelo, but going to be able to not only find or get help finding the kill, but now apply that pressure around. But there's the Dragon Punch, there's the Ancient Rage coming through just to try and push back Flashpoint.
That's a good little moment of resistance there for Cyclone, but they do spend the Dragon Punch. They do spend the Ancient Rage. Hexafire and Flame was all used by Flashpoint there, so ults for ults. Both teams thinking they have what it takes to get to the end there. Delayed, he's been very effective. Pressure on the Drogos, though. That's the name of the game there. Both times they were able to find it. That's when they were winning fights. As soon as Tito gets to his spot, I mean, he was top damage, top KD pretty much in game number 1 as well. He's top damage here again. Shutting down these blasters on their very, very strong maps is incredibly important.
5, 4.
It feels as though when the score is in that area, it was 2-1 for Flashpoint, looking for the 3-1. I feel like they might have overcommitted ults. Like, honestly, if you're going to end up just going 2-2, then there's not too much to change, I think. When you dump all those ults, yes, you burn a couple on the side of Cyclone, but I feel like they'd be a little bit better coming into this with a Hexafire, especially if, like, Immortal, it's not even going to get used.
That could be a big oopsie daisy, because that's Flashpoint's only ultimate currently. The Whirlwind comes out from Cyclone, and everyone is just full HP in every sense of the word. And now it's the Xin trying to find a way in. Can Country Xin find a way to get home to Mountain Mama here? Inara walls him off. She says, not today. I'm not taking you back. And a beautiful Treacherous Crown, a beautiful Shell Shield bails out Cassie for the time being, but not forever. Filleted is able to find it once more. The pressure onto the Cassie. Up B with a beautiful Immortal there. The Spite is going to miss. That would be big if the Sonara wasn't good. Oh my goodness, Centurio just turned it around there. It does end up being huge for Filleted. He is going to fall here. Centurio still alive, gets up the wall, and disengages cleanly. Flashpoint, are you really going to let this kill go?
The healing that happens right now, even if it's just out of combat, is going to be big for
Really?
Inara, because now she can walk right back in. No one's looking on this side right here. They're distracted. Drogo's going to be coming in. Makoa with the Shell Shield going to be all on the point. And now with the Dragon Punch coming through, this is going to open it right back up for Cyclone.
There it is. Makoa extremely low HP as well. Tito boxing out. The Inflame comes out, but Legacy had to get on the objective just to not lose the payload there. Filleted gets a huge Solar Blessing. So much healing coming through at the moment. The Hexafire comes down as well. Legacy and Flashpoint. Legacy stumbles into a second kill as well. Gets the big heal as well to keep things alive. Filleted just dives onto the objective, but it's all futile here. Lands that Spite finally, just to put the nail in the coffin. Flashpoint Very, very close. Very, very hard fought from Cyclone, but they will come out on top at the end of the day.
A lot of good pressure and good fortune with Hexafire coming up when it did. Unfortunately, Legacy and Prosper Logic immediately lose their lives after they start getting a little bit of momentum. And that feels kind of the way that this game has gone, is a lot of punches being thrown by both sides.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be who can roll with them a little bit better. But after you take so many, there's only so much you can do. You're trying
to get punch drunk.
Get rid of all of the ults that Cyclone can just throw out whenever they happen to have them. You need to burn Ancient Rage, you need to burn Seismic Crash, you need to burn the Dragon Punch pretty much before the round ends to feel confident, especially if you don't think you can get the push.
I mean, yeah, that Cassie basically rolled into that Hexafire, gifted a kill to Legacy. And if she had just kind of stayed away and just kept poking out from the backside, I think she probably would have picked that kill up, in fact. HP bars running low here for Ruckus, running low for Xin. But Storm Avatar, again, he's been pretty big on this Furia. Enflame pop, the gas pedal is hit. That means go. Cassie stumbling, trying to backpedal in that door as well. Valet does receive a heal, but I mean, that was an opportunity for a kill there that just was not seized.
Tito has been finding some good hits, some bad hits. And that one's going to be a great salvo in terms of the pressure that it applies, getting rid of Op B. And again, that Immortal, I feel like I haven't seen it used. I'm not sure if he used it early in the round, and he did just charge it back up, but it just feels like there's certain moments where I kind of expect to see Immortal come through, and Fernando just kind of shrugs it off, takes the damage, and instead waits for the regroup.
Yeah, he did use it earlier this round. Did get a charge back up, which is pretty quick, so that's good for him. Maybe looking to save it for a Dragon Punch here. That's been the biggest thing, is a lot of these Dragon Punches are getting off, and then the Drogos is getting out alive as well, which is a lot of value for a Drogos to get. A 1-for-0 trade, which is almost guaranteed. It's simply too much. Solar Blessing comes through, tops off Op B. Second life's aplenty here with Solar Blessing Furia. Is Makoa in a troubling spot now? He gets spited out. This could be it. The Inflame is hit as well. Everyone is dying. Gormizer much faster than they anticipated. The Fireball is good as well. And just like that, Flashpoint hit the gas pedal, get this payload moving. But it is a little bit late into the round. These respawns are going to be here. Everyone's got their ultimate from CycloneGG. How much do they need to commit defensively? That's the question.
Hexafire still available. They're holding onto it as best they can. They're actually going to go ahead and pop that, try to get a couple kills, but you have to find something, at least one kill. Centurio does go down. Don Canolo going to follow, but Ancient Rage is popped, and now Legacy taking a lot of damage and goes down.
This Tito has to be taken down. Fernando falls, and the objective runs out of gas almost immediately. And you have to say, if someone was there to contest from Flashpoint, they may have been able to finish that offense.
Yeah.
Prosper Logic was still very, very healthy. Storm Avatar was still healthy. Makoa only had a couple thousand HP left, and Vivian could have made quick work of that. What a beautiful offense, though, put together at the last second from Flashpoint. It's just the payload was a little bit further from its destination than it needed to be. That was not a striking distance team fight, so to speak, from Flashpoint.
Every ult from Flashpoint was used during that, where Seismic Crash, Scout's still going to be available, but it's a little misleading just because even though Prosper Logic's 75% of his ult, he still has both Sentinels up, and that is going to be impactful in terms of damage. Just being able to have that burst come through. I mean, look at the rockets from Ruckus and then now the Sentinels. You can start looking at Don Canolo, Tito as entities that just aren't going to live as long. They're not going to have the same impact if you can kill them off fast enough.
And a couple of morale boosts here, you know, like for Zen, for instance, he was at 50%, now he's at 71, so he's going to have his budget Dragon Punch here in a couple of seconds. Prosper Logic laying down the pain from the side here, wanting to walk down this Drogos. Not afraid to take the fight until he sees Inara, now he's in trouble. Prosper Logic locked down there by the treacherous ground. Salvo finds literally 0 damage. Enflame will come out here. Fernando almost charges off the map. And the disengage almost pushes him that last little bit, but I only Op B. Look at all the time he's buying. He gets another big heal, turns it around with a fireball here. He's trading 2 for 1. That has to be worth it for Flashpoint.
I mean, absolutely. It buys a lot of time for his team to get back. Zen going to be able to come around the side. This time he does have Spite up, and if he can find it, it would make a difference, but he goes whirling right by Itik, and he's not going to be able to find the kill on the Makoa or the Inara. and those are going to open up a lot of room, but that's still 62% because of his morale boost.
But indeed it is. So fast to charge here. Filet needs to be careful, though. Counters out a fire spit that looks like it would have found a ton of value. 90% back on the objective. But this game is all about I only Op B, in my opinion. I mean, he has been phenomenal. Counters out the Dragon Punch. Filet, though he misses his Guillotine Spite, he really puts the moves on Drogos and counters out one of the most important ultimates for Cyclone now, evening up the score.
And now you're looking at Centurio walking literally straight at them. You need to kill him, you have an execute, and you are waiting for it. That's going to be up in the air. That's going to be a kill for Filleted, and now the pressure's onto Makoa.
There it is. Enflame comes out as Flashpoint just want to put their foot down and end this set here and now. 30% increased damage and movement speed for all. Come one, come all, and slaughter your opponents here. It's all red in the kill feed. It's all Flashpoint, and it's a 2-0 victory, albeit one that did not come easy.
Cyclone is just there, right? And it's just like just low enough. Kind of the partner that you would always want to be number 2, right? Where it's like, we can always beat you, but you're at least going to make us get better in the process of doing it. So good for Flashpoint because they're going to be able to learn off of that. And Cyclone are just so close to being able to topple them. And the minute that happens, this region, this console changes.
Well, very well done there by Flashpoint. I mean, an incredible 2-0 for them. They had to work extremely hard for it. They'll wipe the sweat off their brows as they leave victors for today. We can take a look at the standings, I believe, and then if you are, I'm ready to get right on into the next one.